Welcome to the Folk Hogan Podcast. Each week we sit down and we talk a whole bunch of things about this silly old band that we have had for so long now. It's a darn old good time, and we're glad to have you with us. Chips,
hello.
How are you today?
I'm so good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
I'm good.
What have you been up to? Chips had a busy weekend.
Busy Chips. Oh man. It was the last weekend of the Garage on Beck.
It was. I'm sad to say.
And Saturday. Did we play Saturday?
We played Friday.
We played Friday. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
Played Friday night.
Okay, so Friday, I was running one of the two stages. They had the inside stage and the outside stage going. So I got there early. I set up. I was running sound for my bands. And then I finished the last band. I wrapped up all the cables. I put away the monitors. Put everything away so it was ready for the next day. And 5 minutes later, Folk Hogan showed up.
Yeah. Yep.
And we unloaded the
All right.
van and loaded onto the stage and played.
Yeah. And what a show we played. We had ourselves a real good time. It was
We really did.
sad to see the garage go away, but happy that we got to be a part of its send off. So
It's sad to see any garage go away,
yeah, that's also true.
especially that garage.
Yep. I'm gonna miss their French fries.
We've
They had
always
good
been a
French
band
fries.
that likes dark spaces and cars.
Yep.
And motorcycles mostly.
You know,
Two-wheeled conveyances.
the first time we played there was August of 2011, and the band had a very different lineup back in those days.
Yeah, it did.
Nick and I are the only ones that are still around from that day. But back then the stage didn't have a roof. There wasn't like the decoration that there is now. It was very, very different. And if I remember correctly, the first fire they had was the following morning after we played. And at that time it was like, oh, I hope that place doesn't go away. Even though we'd only played there once, it was like, oh, this place is awesome.
It was really special, even just that initial contact.
Yeah. And, we had the luxury of playing there so many times over so many years. We did our 7th birthday, 8th birthday there. We played inside. And Tanner, our original banjo player, came and jumped on stage and played along with us, with Cameron. And I brought this up at the show. It's one of my one of those things that I look back at and I chuckle at is at the end of the night, there was this little like bar that you could set your drinks on right next to the stage. And at the end of the night, there was this mountain of shot glasses and empty pint glasses. And sitting next to them was 6 untouched steins of water. It's like, yeah, that seems appropriate. And we've played so many shows there. We've played so many shows with so many awesome bands. And it's just sad to think that's gone. Salt Lake is really losing a lot of its neighborhood bars that have music,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them. Piper Down has started doing way more shows in the last few years where they've had multiple bands, which has been awesome. So they're kind of filling some of that role.
Yeah.
But in the downtown Salt Lake area, there's not a lot of options as far as that goes. You've got the more venue style places like Urban Lounge and Metro, and those fill a role on their own. But to have like a neighborhood bar where people can go and hang out and eat food and feel comfortable, and there happens to be cool local or even touring bands playing there, it's a sad thing to lose that. It's the amount of bars that supply that has been shrinking for a long time. This is not a new trend. And it's been shrinking for a lot of reasons, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, the city's a pressure cooker. Things are going away constantly. And, we're in this great rush to put up more housing, but it doesn't seem like there's any logical way to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs more to build. The city makes the permits more difficult to get.
Yeah.
And so what you end up with is a bunch more apartments that are needed, but the prices become so high that no one can live there, and nobody needs another, I say this with air quotes, luxury apartment for $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 for one bedroom.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that.
Yeah.
But that's all that seems to be happening, is things going away and more things popping up. But what's going to be interesting to see is what's going to happen with the need for live music and the next Olympics coming up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because
we saw a huge spike of spaces being created for live music during the first Salt Lake Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
And, will those spaces exist, or can they exist?
Hopefully some places pop up. And, there was a ton of stuff that was created for the 2002 Olympics that were meant to be temporary that survived for years and years and years afterwards. I worked at a restaurant at one point that was meant to only be there for the 2 weeks of the Olympics. And I worked there in 2005, 3 years later.
Oh,
and
okay.
It was there for like 2 years after that. So, you never know. You never know. Hopefully there is some...
Well, the people need soup.
Yeah. Yes, they do. And we all sorely miss big city soup. Oh, man,
Some man one day was looking at a chicken and thought, what if I could drink that?
Smart man.
What if that was a
Smartest man who ever
tasty
lived, man.
beverage?
A nice frothy chicken.
And then
Guzzle
many years
down.
later,
Here we are. So hopefully, I don't know. We've all seen that it's part of just getting older is seeing the places that you love go away.
oh yeah,
Unfortunately. But, certainly there's a lot of conflicting things that make it difficult for those kind of neighborhood bars to open up. But
yeah,
hopefully some more stuff like that does pop up. We've still got places like Aces. We've still got
there's
places like Piper
interesting
Down.
spots.
Yeah.
And it just overnight seems to be about 80 degrees now in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So it just instantly feels like summer. And all of these festivals that have been planned the whole year throughout, and they started thinking about this a year and a half ago or a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever, when they, put money in for their funding and grants and these kind of things to make these spaces happen. There's a lot of concerts that happen around the city and a lot of events that happen around the city during the summer.
Tons.
So it creates a lot of opportunities in the short term.
Yeah.
But our summer season is short, and that's not all the time. So so Salt Lake, there tends to be a lot of events that happen outdoors during these warm months.
Yeah, and especially this month. I mean, being Pride Month, there are so many incredible, crazy events that happen in the city that are just like, I mean, in years past, there's been times where I remember I went to Urban Lounge one time and they were doing the indoor stage and they had an outdoor backstage, and there were like 6 bands in one night and they were all incredible. And like, there's so many cool events like that happen.
They do
this month specifically.
The rock climbing place, the front has a whole concert series that starts up either in the next few weeks or already has. And there's like a good third space that thought, like, how can we create something that isn't just the one point of our business that we want to have, you know, they started a cult when they created that place. They were like, we're going to have rock climbing, we're going to have a cafe, we're going to have exercise classes, we're going to have places for people to just hang out. There's going to be concerts. And so they've got a really full, healthy music lineup.
Yeah.
And that's something that and it's one of the more expensive places gym wise to be a member to in the city, but
you get so much for it.
But people just love that. They sign on and they do that. And so there are some of those spaces and it's interesting because it almost puts a strain on the few bars that are around, because the second you can grab a 6-pack and go out into the woods and it's warm enough that people want to do that. It's not snow everywhere.
Right.
Or patios or any sort of outdoor space. You know, our venues, our bars aren't built like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's
such a short season.
That's also why, like, in Europe, a lot of the bars close for summer because they have like festivals going on, which we do. We have all sorts of outdoor stuff going on. And they don't really do air conditioning in a lot of places over there. So they just close bars for the summer, which you would
That's so weird.
think would be the opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, makes sense.
So we always build up this momentum throughout the winter, and then we go to play our first June or July show, and there's like 5 people there, and we're like, oh, wait, I thought we were a band.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yep.
You know, we have fans. We know we have fans.
Yeah.
Where did they all go?
I mean, you know.
Or we book some summer tour.
Time to just start playing campgrounds again.
And then and then randomly we've played some almost campground scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
I don't know if we've played some campground scenarios for sure. We've got some campground type shows coming up. I was trying to think of the
Ted
running
Fest.
and drinking club that we played a show at the outdoor space. And if
Hashers.
if that was a campground or if that was what, but yeah, Ted Fest is coming up. In July, mid-July is Ted Fest.
Yeah, it's the 19th we're playing on the 19th.
I hope we signed the contract now that we're talking about it.
We did.
We signed the contract. Okay. And by we, I mean Moses did.
Yeah.
No, I knew we had that one coming up.
Yeah, Ted Fest is a blast. For those of you that don't know, it's a festival that happens in Walsburg, which is between Heber City and Provo, basically. There are a ton of awesome bands that play there. It skews a little bit more towards the bluegrass and country type of thing, but it's just a wonderful festival. The food is always good. There's always cool food trucks there. There's a museum there that has a bunch of like crazy vintage cars and motorcycles and tractors. There's and when I say that, it's not like a dinky museum. It is expansive. It is alarming the amount of stuff that's there. And it's right by the lake, so if it gets too hot, you can run and jump, drive 5 miles over to Deer Creek and jump in the lake and swim around. And so many good bands. And then at night, like many of those types of festivals, a bunch of people just kind of set up camps around where they're staying and play music, and people wander in and out of groups. And so like you just end up having a blast. So highly recommend getting out to Ted Fest. That place is a hoot. There's all sorts of cool stuff coming up this summer. And we hope to be a part of a whole bunch of it. So it's kind of crazy for us lately. You know, once we did the album release show, there was definitely a sort of big exhale for the band of just like, oh, let's just take a minute, take a deep breath.
Yeah. We scheduled time off of practice even.
Yeah.
Which is unusual.
Yeah, very unusual. Just to be able to catch our breath.
And we went to go support our friend, and it was actually somebody filling in for him.
Oh, yeah.
And that guy's primary location is
Yeah. Thomas Campbell.
Tuesday night. Oh, Thomas Campbell.
Yeah.
We were hoping to see him and the other guy filling in.
Yeah.
That's part of that same cohort. He does the trivia Tuesday nights at a bar named Sue.
Yeah. Yeah.
On Highland.
Thomas normally does the trivia Sundays at Piper Down. And we went, and he had that night off. We didn't get to see him.
Yeah.
That's what he gets for taking nights off.
But when I go to do sound for the jam every couple of weeks, he's the host of the trivia that butts up against that. So
Yeah.
I'm like, hey. And he's like, you're that guy from Folk Hogan. I talked to your singer. He's really nice.
I love Thomas. Oh, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
your impression on people.
Yeah.
And then I don't have
And
to
Rob and
reintroduce
Heather were
myself.
there with us.
Yeah.
Love Rob and Heather. They flew out from Indiana for the album release show. What sweethearts. I love them so much. I miss being able to see them at shows all the time. So I guess that just means we got to go to Indiana.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll do better this time at playing.
Yeah, we'll try.
Rob told us after the show, that was just all right. And he was joking.
Yeah.
He was just trying to get a response, but also, there's probably some truth to it.
He's such a sweetheart.
Not every show can be your best Folk Hogan show.
That's true. But you never know.
Yeah.
That's why you got to keep going. So yeah, that was a lengthy intro.
It is an intro.
Sorry about the tangent. We're gonna miss you, the garage on Beck. Hope that something else pops up. But for now, the French fries at Bar Named Sue are also very good. So I'll just have to scam some of those when I can. But yeah, I'll miss the good old garage on Beck, and I'm sure Nick will too because he worked there most of the time.
Goodbye, garage on Beck.
Yeah. So outside of that, we do have a number of things coming up this summer. We're going to play a whole bunch of shows. We're working on a bunch of new songs. Excited to get a bunch of those out into the world to hopefully get a It's Okay response from Rob. And we're playing at Bar Named Sue. What is that? The 6th?
Island?
Yeah.
Oh, what is the date? The 6th?
Which is this weekend.
Yeah.
Playing there this weekend. Playing this. Let's see. When's our next show? I feel like we have a break after that for a little bit.
A little bit of a break so far. The next one's July 11th.
Yeah.
At Ice House.
Oh, it's gonna be nice. I like that place.
Yeah.
And then,
super cool.
Yeah, and then
super cool German bar.
Yeah, and then the 18th we
played the German bars
breakfast.
when we were in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
But when we're in Germany,
play the American.
We
bars.
play the American bars.
Yeah. Or Netherlands for that matter.
Or the Netherlands.
And then July 18th we've got Prickfest, which if you've missed out on any of the previous Prickfests, they're a blast. They skew more towards the metal show, but they are.
Yeah, we're the odd cousin.
But there's so many really good bands that I feel like sort of transcend genre there that are just so cool to watch.
Oh, you know what's a good band, a good local band, and a great name? Odd Father.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's so
such a good. Yeah, it's. And I had the perfect introduction to them because their vocalist is a drummer in another band.
Yeah.
And I did sound for their band, and then a month later he shows up, but he doesn't have a drum set with him, and he's playing guitar and singing in his own band.
Yeah.
But it's the same bass player in both groups, which happens to be his father.
Oh wow!
Hence the name Odd Father.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he sang one song that first night, and I thought, wow, this drummer's got. I mean, he can really sing.
Wow.
He should have his own band. Little do I know, he did.
Yeah.
And it's Odd Father.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time. I'm excited for Prickagonda. That'll be a Prick Fest. That'll be a blast of a time. Normally sometimes they sell booty shorts. And so Cameron, Sebastian, and I have bought booty shorts, and we typically wear booty shorts to those shows. So if you want to see the widest legs possible, you're welcome to come to that show because I'll be wearing booty shorts. Yeah, it's always weird, like right after we release an album, because we spend so much time getting these songs together and practicing the hell out of them and recording them and playing them at the album release show. And so there tends to be this sense of like, cool, now we move on, now we do the next thing. Well, the problem with that is like, you just released an album. You should be out there playing the songs on the album for people to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to go out and promote this new thing, but back at home, back in the studio, back in the rehearsal space, you need to be thinking about your next 6 moves.
Yeah.
This is why pop artists back in the day, when there used to be these big balloon loan record contract things or whatever they called them,
right,
where they would take out like a $300,000, $500,000 loan in somebody's name. They would bank a few albums. They would record like 4 to 6 albums at a time.
Yeah.
And then that pop artist would go on tour. And then when they released their second album, it was actually like 2 years old at that point.
Yeah.
But you know, the track for a DIY artist is you got to write the stuff, figure out how to fund recording it, get all of that together, get the artwork together, release it.
Yeah.
And while you're out doing the release, you got to be thinking about the next one.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like by the time you release the album, a lot of times it's not that you're sick of the songs. It's just like, no, we've done that.
Yeah. And I've listened to people that have had like a lot of virality in the current like ecosystem of social media, and they recommend doing things like I would not spend any money on touring. I would not spend any money on music videos. After I've done everything the way that I did it, I would just release one song every 2 weeks or something like that, like 24 songs in a year, one at a time, and I would focus on short form content to support those.
Yeah.
And then once something like that is kind of starting to take off, there's just this pipeline of constant release of all these little things. But like, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, it feels good to make an album.
We look at single releases and even EP releases as like road signs along the highway that you pass, and the album is the whole destination. It's the whole trip. It's the whole period of time. It's something that can live in a space and a time as one thing altogether, and capture that decade, capture that moment.
Yeah.
And even though a lot of music is timeless, it's not just this single song snapshot of what's happening right at that moment. And we spend a lot of time thinking about how songs flow into each other and how to arrange all of that and how they fit together in a group.
Yeah.
We might have 20 available songs that haven't been recorded, but to make an album, we have to find 10 to 12 to whatever songs or so that all convey one idea.
Right. Yeah.
Or working all the way backwards like we often do. Yeah. We have to pick a theme first. Right. We have to pick a color palette, then write the songs.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
That's how beautiful things are made.
yeah, it's tricky, but it's fun.
You know,
So keep doing it.
so that's why you shouldn't tell your friends to just go on American Idol.
Yeah. Yep. For those of you that don't know, we got asked to be on America's Got Talent years ago, and had a number of band discussions about it, and talked to a number of other musicians that we know that had been on the show. Jordan Matthew Young, the guys from American Hitmen, the folks from Metalachi. Like, we reached out and talked to a bunch of people about what that experience was like, and ultimately we decided not to do it, which most people think is an insane decision. And one of the things that was brought up during all of those conversations was the fact that when you go and do those shows, you can't play an original song. You have to play a cover song. Because it has to be something that they can get the rights to for you to perform. And you're probably not going to let them have the rights to your song to perform on the show. So the conversation that we had with several of the people that we knew that had been on the show, they were all thankful for it. But from some of them, we heard that, like, you're just going to be expected to play a lot of covers after that. When you go on tour, people are going to expect the cover that you played on America's Got Talent. So, like, just be aware that that's a thing. And in this band, we have always sort of tried to steer away from covers. We always preferred to just write our own songs and do things that way. So it was a very difficult series of conversations about, are we going to sort of go against the thing that we've always done in terms of the songs we play, and are we going to go on this show, and like it may give us opportunity, but is it indeed the opportunity that we want? And ultimately we decided against it.
Yeah, it was like the guy from the Young Dubliners, the singer that told us, like, be really careful about what you release, because we did this one thing and it exploded.
Yep.
And now that's what we are forever.
Yep. Yeah, and that's,
I've been able to make a career out of it because of that, but just make that choice intentionally.
Yeah, there's no doubt that they still have fun playing Rocky Road to Dublin for the last song of every show. Like, you can see that they still have fun, but, like, it's hard to explain unless you've been in a band that, like, man, that song that the whole band hates, that you just have to play, it just gets so tiring to play that song. And I feel pretty lucky that, like, there's not a song that we have that I am just like, ugh, I hate that song.
I can try to explain it in the way that I think about it. I think about covers as being, I think about originals as being like a nice, like, barrel-aged whiskey. And I think about cover songs as being cocaine. And if you choose to do cocaine, it might be fun initially, but there kind of becomes this point where it takes over.
Yeah.
And it changes the chemistry behind it, and we didn't really set out to be a wedding band. We didn't really set out to be a cover band. And, we might flirt with one of those things every once in a while, but we did one Rage Against the Machine show a bajillion years ago, and we continued to occasionally play one of those songs at a live set, and
still to this day.
And then people
ask about it.
Some of them, that's the only thing they know about us.
Yeah. Still to this day, people will
and request
come up and request us to play Killing in the Name. It's like, no,
and
we
it's
don't do
like that was 10 years ago at this point.
I think that definitely had something to do with that whole conversation.
One
just
4-song set that we played like 10 years ago.
I feel like that had a lot to do with that conversation because we were like, well, we've already experienced like
getting a taste of it is
at the end of every show, people being like, play that one song that you didn't write.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
It's like
I don't want to.
People there was a drunk guy one night many years ago that walked up to Cameron and he said, "Do the thing." And Cameron and I kind of looked at each other and he's like, "Do it." And he was waving his arms.
Yeah.
And Cameron was just totally lost. And I was like, he wants you to play the Deliverance riff.
Yep.
He wants you to play the banjo riff.
Yeah.
The one that everybody knows.
Yep. So,
And Cameron obliged because this drunk person was borderline scary in their demand.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic to have that when people come up to you and they're like, do the thing you don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was playing a show once with Folk Hogan. No, might have been solo. Not sure now. We're playing a show somewhere at some time, and somebody came up.
So
it was
specific.
Green Pig, and it was with Folk Hogan. And somebody came up with like a $20 bill and requested the song that they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And they were from Nashville, and that's how it works in Nashville.
Yeah.
Is every one of those and they're some of the most talented musicians in Nashville ever. And there's so many of them, but before they can get on the stage, they have to learn the songbook of all of these songs.
Yep.
And they're expected to play them. And those bands make their living based off of people requesting a cover and them dropping everything and doing it right then.
Yeah.
And then, those tips add up to the end of the night to a wage for them.
Yeah.
And that's not how it works at a live show. That's not how it works at a Folk Hogan show. You don't walk up and hand $20 to Moses and go play Beyonce.
Yeah, and some people listening to this may recall times that someone has come up to the stage and yelled out like a song they wanted to hear. Many times. I remember one night at Green Pig, there was this group of guys that kept being like, play a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. And we kept just over and over being like, okay, here's a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. And then just playing one of our songs.
Yeah.
That's been a thing we've done the entire time we've been a band when someone requests something. And hilariously, every time that happens, when we first start the song, people are like jamming out, like, yeah, this is a song from the band I love. And then about halfway through the first verse, they go, wait a minute, this is not something I remember. So, yeah, I don't know, it's tough.
It is.
But it's tough because, like, there is this internal struggle that exists of, like, I want people that come to the show to enjoy the show and have a good time. And they want to hear a specific song. And so there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I sure do wish the whole band knew this. But then if you were to ask me, hey, would you feel good about taking the entire couple of practices to really nail down a cover song? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. If we're going to spend the time, we're going to learn.
We even talked about like splitting off and creating a different brand for a cover band.
Yeah.
But we can't hide our faces. People would know it's us.
Yeah. Yeah, for years, one of the things that Canyon used to say we should do was split the band in half and tour different parts of the country at the same time.
It's a really creative idea.
Yeah.
But, wow.
Yeah, brave. It's a pretty silly thing to do, but...
We'll meet up on weekends for shows.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Being in a band's a weird thing. It's hard to manage those expectations that other people have.
I mean, I know groups that have a 2 or 3 person deep lineup.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
These are all of the people that can play this instrument. These are all the people that can play this instrument, so that they can have flexibility to take multiple or any gig.
Yeah. Yep. Not us. It's just us.
We don't. Nope. There's no redundancy here.
Yep. It's just us. The closest thing we get to redundancy is one of us trying to poorly play the song on someone else's instrument.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, if we lose another banjo player, we have to like go out and get a raw chicken breast and like some fishing line.
And then prop a cardboard box up with
just
a
like
stick.
you catch crawdads, just cast it out there, and then they just start to congregate, and eventually you can get a banjo player to latch on to the raw chicken breast.
That's about how it worked with Cameron. It's
But we're tired of doing that.
yeah, my arm's getting tired. I've been casting for a long time trying to get rid of Cameron. Just nothing works. That guy. Cameron's our band little brother, for those of you that didn't know. So he's a terrible
He's
bass
the
player.
world's little brother.
We love him so much.
His little brother, big little brother energy.
He is a perpetual little brother. Even though he's been in the band for, 12 years, as soon as Casey joined the band, like the first time that Cameron told Casey to do something and Casey was like, no, everyone else immediately actually applauded and was like, yeah, yeah, welcome to the club. It's not that we don't respect him, it's that we can't respect him. Yeah, anyways, what a weird episode we just had, talking about those inner workings of what it's like. We have new songs coming. We have all sorts of fun things going on. We have shows coming up. Check out that old folkhogan.com. You'll be able to see all sorts of whatnot. We got all sorts of fun merch. And I don't know. We're still having a good time. We still got a bunch of songs coming up. We're working on some new stuff. Drinking songs and serious songs and all over the place. Fun songs. A little bit of some of the upcoming songs are a bit of a return to former forms.
Yeah.
And some of them are kind of new things. So we'll see how it goes.
It's great stuff.
Yeah.
Keep up with it.
We love you all. Thanks for listening to us jibber jabber. And we'll be back with you next week. So love you. Visit the old website for shows, and see you soon.
But imagine if you played a game where spirit is life and learned his name, and then maybe you could fly for free. The right choice isn't always easy, but it is when you are legendary. I choose adventure. Gordon once said, I'm going to tip if I don't get my booty out on that ship to climb aboard.